ingredients or food of the new style of keto diet that you're recommending? What would be the 10 main foods we should be eating then within that diet?
So here's another really cool thing.
Yeah.
The principal ketone that we use once we're in ketosis is a fat called beta hydroxybutyrate.
Okay.
A lot of people have seen it as BHB.
Okay.
Right? That is made from butyrate, which is made from prebiotic fiber being digested by our gut bacteria into postbiotics. And these short chain fatty acids like butyrate are a product of prebiotic fiber digestion. So one really easy way to make the substrates of ketones is to eat a high fiber diet, soluble fiber.
Yeah.
So, asparagus, the root vegetables, leeks, onions, garlic, the chicory family vegetables, radicchio, chicory, frisee, Belgian endive. I just had a big radicchio salad last night. So those actually make the precursors for what we're looking for.
Okay.
But here, ever heard of apple cider vinegar?
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't like it.
Ever want to know how apple cider vinegar works?
Tell me.
It turns out it
People
is...
swear by apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, so it is a short chain fatty acid called acetic acid or acetate. And it just so happens to be a backbone for making a ketone, acetoacetate. But more importantly, both butyrate and acetic acid are mitochondrial uncouplers in their own right. So have yourself some apple cider vinegar.
Doesn't taste good.
Put it in sparkling water like San Pellegrino.
Drink it.
Have some balsamic vinegar. Put it in, some water and drink it.
Okay.
Put it on your salads. Now, have some other fermented foods. It turns out that the fermented foods are not doing anything for probiotics. It turns out that they have these postbiotics already in there. And fermented foods like wine have postbiotics. And fermented foods like cheeses have postbiotics. And these are a class of postbiotics called polyamines, and one of the most famous ones is spermidine.
Okay, spermidine.
And you can guess where that comes from. There's another one called putrescine, putrid, rotting, and these things are potent mitochondrial couplers. That's why men in Italy who eat a lot of Parmesan cheese, which is aged Parmesan cheese, live longer and have much better vascular health than men who don't. That's why those Sardinians and those Costa Ricans who are eating lots of goat and sheep cheese have such great health. So have yourself some goat yogurt, stir in some polyphenols, get yourself polyphenol of your choice. I like to do what's called reverse juicing. Take fruit, put it in your Jack LaLanne juicer. I know you got one in the cupboard.
Yeah.
Throw the juice away, but take the pulp, which is pure polyphenols, and freeze it, or just take it and put it in your goat yogurt, your sheep yogurt. You can get goat yogurt at Trader Joe's. And you will just have this uncoupling burst. You'll have breakfast, but you'll generate ketones. You can even have some pistachios and you'll generate uncoupling.
What does goat yogurt taste like?
It really doesn't taste very goaty. Fun fact, MCT is a component of 5 different fats, and 4 of them are named after the Latin word for goat, capras.
So you've given 4 things so far. Let's give me one final thing that can extend our life and the quality of our life as well.
Great. So the last thing we want to do is we want to turn off as much as we can the sensor called mTOR. Originally called the mammalian target of rapamycin. It's subsequently been discovered in all organisms besides mammals. And so now it's called the mechanistic target of rapamycin. And so mTOR is an energy sensor, and it's in all of our cells. And basically, we come from a circadian rhythm system of plentiful food at one time of the year and very little food at
Right.
another time of year. Right?
Fruit sometimes, not those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we use fruit to gain weight for the winter, and that's a whole nother subject. So mTOR senses energy availability, and it senses sugar molecules, and it also senses amino acids, protein. Now, it turns out that it's very sensitive to particular amino acids rather than all amino acids. The ones it's most sensitive to are amino acids contained in animal protein. And animals include fish. Animal protein includes eggs. It includes cheeses, and besides, meat. So, beautiful work that's been done, a lot of it done by now my friend Walter Longo from USC, from the Longevity Center.
Is that the mimicking fasting
the
diet?
fasting mimicking diet.
I've taken that a couple times.
And he got a patent for Prolong.
Yeah, Prolong. Yeah.
Got a patent for it. So
I did
Prolong,
this. It's
So
good.
Prolong is a vegan, low amino acid diet that you do for 5 days.
Yeah, it's tough the first time.
It is.
For me, it was.
Now, in the book, I wrote about it in the Plant Paradox, actually, before he made Prolong, but I write about it again, and he's even given me a nice shout out on the back. The idea is you want to reduce mTOR as much as you can. And the more you suppress it, the longer you live. And here's the reason. If times are rough, and you sense that times are rough, your body, your immune system, actually goes around and looks at all the cells in your body and says, who's pulling their weight, who is really, contributing to this effort, and who's a slacker, who looks a little weird, who's not doing. And it actually instructs cells to commit suicide. And it's called autophagy. And it tells cells, sorry, you're out of here.
Yeah.
You die. And so it gets the fittest of the fittest to survive.
It makes you stronger.
And you have to have these periods of time. You have to call the herd, as we say. So unless you do that, you have all of these cells that just kind of build up the debris. They're called senescent cells. Some people call them zombie cells. And it's the amount of these zombie cells that is actually going to make you deteriorate long before you should.
Get sick and everything else,
exactly. So you got to call the herd.
What are the main foods
the
have the most gluten or the most?
Well, so wheat, rye, and barley have gluten. Oats have a protein that cross-reacts with gluten. And I can't tell you the number of people who are eating oats that they're one of the culprits.
What if it's when they say gluten-free oats? Is that
Run.
What does that mean when it's gluten-free oats?
Basically means nothing, because there's a protein in oats that isn't gluten, but it looks a lot like gluten, and our immune system can't tell the difference. Similarly, 70% of people who are sensitive to gluten react to corn as if it was gluten. And that's why so many patients, and I've written a paper about this, who are gluten-free, eating gluten-free foods, still have leaky gut and autoimmune diseases. And when we take away their healthy gluten-free foods, like corn, like oats, like quinoa, then their leaky gut goes away and their autoimmune disease goes away.